Hello, Thea Terry.
Hello.
Okay. I'm gonna be doing my interview for my project for Crim 7. Okay. What is your first name?
My first name, legal first name is Teresa, but I
Okay.
prefer Terry.
Okay. And what department did you work for?
I actually worked for three. I worked for Kingsburg Police Department.
Okay.
I worked for College of Sequoia's Police Department for a short time.
Okay.
And then I ended at Reedley Police Department.
Okay. Which job would you say was more dominant? What would you call your job title?
Well, the most dominant, because I had more years doing it, was dispatching.
Okay.
Later in my career, I was evidence technician and court liaison for Reedley Police Department.
Okay. 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 And how many years did you work in that specific field?
In law enforcement, 14 years.
Okay. Can you say one of your job descriptions?
Sure. Job description would be dispatcher. So I was responsible for taking note and making sure that all patrol units were in where they said they were. And then whenever they would say that they were moving on or going to the next call, so we had to maintain a log so
Okay.
that we knew where they were.
Okay. 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 What was your what was your department's policy in regarding to a community relationship?
Our department's policy is, of course, people don't, I want to say that it was to help and protect and serve the community.
Okay. Do you believe in a community relationship? Do you think it's important?
Absolutely.
Okay. In your opinion, how could you say your department improved the community relationship?
I think just being public, maintaining a public, how would I say it? That there's a public view, that they know that we are there if ever they needed help. We also educated them in many different things, how to protect themselves from burglary, how to self-protect themselves from any type of violence, what to do, what not to do, give lots of recommendations about that.
Okay. What measurements work best to promote the collaborative relationships between, let's say, let's kind of revisit the same question again, but it's pretty much asking what 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 collaborative relationships did you guys have to do to help improve like a safe space for the community to help improve pretty much like
A lot of, yeah, there were presentations at schools. I am also bilingual, so I would go out and help with the community for that. They were Spanish speaking predominantly, so that we could get the word out or get information out to the public so that they could become aware of certain laws, certain rights, and anything that they needed that they thought that they would have to call the police department, regardless if it was for information or for something more serious, that we would be there.
okay, okay. What do you feel are some of the barriers to good police community relation and to take and how would you take to ooh, hold on. Okay, let me re-ask that question again.
Okay.
What do you feel are some of the barriers to good police communication for the
Some of the
community?
barriers, you mean?
Yeah, for the community. What do you think is a tough barrier to try to eliminate?
I think I think it's just the stigma that people think that just because a police officer or their presence is in a neighborhood, that something negative is happening, and that's not necessarily so. Again, that comes from just having public view and also having them understand that we're trying to protect and not necessarily out to get somebody. So that's, I think, the problem that we have a lot of times with the public.
Okay. Okay. How do you feel? Do you feel like you made a difference in your community? If so, can you try to elaborate on it?
I think I did. Although I only had 14 years, which I say only because I could have stayed there until I retired. But I believe that I did in the sense that I showed compassion, I showed respect, and again, because I was bilingual, I was able to go to some of the more less, how would you say, less economical or economically, well, the poorer areas like, Orange Cove and Fireball and things like this. So I actually was on this team that they would go to educate family members, parents about gangs and the history of the gangs and what to watch out for. So while they would say it in English, I would say it in Spanish.
Okay.
So I think that there, or once they knew, even in my local city police department, if they knew that I was there, they could come up and ask me a question, and I would do the best to get the answer for them.
Okay. What's your best memory working as I wouldn't say a best memory, but what memory sticks out as you being a former dispatcher?
Well, there's quite a few. You get some comical ones, but the more serious ones are the ones that stick out the most. And towards the end of my career, I was not a dispatcher. I was an evidence technician and court liaison. So it changed for me to see evidence that was involved in a crime. I'm very passionate about crimes against children and domestic violence because I'm against it. And I think that although it bothered me sometimes to have to interview either a victim or a suspect, or shall I say, I myself wasn't doing the interviewing but interpreting, I think that bothered me and it sticks out in my mind. And then you're not able to go home to talk about it because it's confidential.
Okay.
So the one story too that sticks out in my mind was before 911 came into the picture. There was a gal that was kidnapped and raped, and she broke away from them and ran into a house that she had no idea where she was. And so I had to keep her on the line until we were able to trace that phone call to find her and bring her to safety.
Okay. Well, that would exclude the whole interview. So, thank you for your time, Thea.
Oh, you're